So I get the question all the time, how do I do my B-roll videos? You know, I use little things like this guy here, which basically sits onto a flat surface. Click a button and it rotates. There we go. And it rotates. So I put the object on there, I whiz around it. That's pretty much how I do my B-rolls. But with certain things, you like to get specific shots. So if I've got something in the center, I want the camera to start here and pan around it. But unfortunately, I don't have anything like that. Well, that wasn't until a company called Neewer got in touch with me and decided to send me this. Let's get into it. So this is what we're taking a look at. This is the Neewer automated. This is the newest slider we're taking a look at. We have looked at one of theirs in the past, which is obviously all manual, but this one is slightly different. So let's just get into it. I'll get it unboxed, get everything on the table, and we'll go from there. So first of all, before we get into it, can I just say how can we appreciate this? That they have everything laid out in such a design which is absolutely phenomenal. Which is unbelievable. We've got obviously everything from the slider, everything to do with the controls, wiring. We've got everything we need right now. So let me get this all out and we'll go from there. So this is everything we get. Starting off with we do get a little customer service number here. So this is just everything about if you're happy with it, if you're not, who you can talk to about it. We do get the actual user manual. This is going to tell you everything you need to know about it, everything about the different controls, how to get it set up, make sure it's set up correctly, even down to like what each of the cables are for. So the one thing we want to go through first is all the cables. Now these are all 3.5. I think these are all 3.5mm jacks. These possibly might be 3.5mm jacks to all the different shutter cables. So we have everything from USB, micro USB cables to USB cables, you name it. So these will all be for your shutter cables to connect to your devices. Now we also do get a little handy dandy remote here, which does take actual batteries going in the back. So these are, so these take NP-F550 batteries, my apologies. So what you do is that just literally goes into the back of there like that. And then your other battery goes into the side of the stroller. Just like that. Now, just before we get doing any more of the video, what I'm going to do is just get this propped up on the side. So let's go through it. So this is the slider we're looking at. Like I said, this is from Neewer. So starting off on the right side, so we do have two mechanical feet here that do just obviously unlock and move around just like that. So you can adjust this to however you want, whether this is going to be sat on a surface which is either uneven or not even. It really does not matter. You have the full choice to actually change it up, so which is great. And then on the left hand side you have the same, apart from the center bar. So on each side we do have this center bar, which is also connected from a dial which is between 0 and 20. That's going to come into play a little bit later because that is also connected to the opposite side of the slider as well. So what I'm going to do is get these arms sorted out just so I can sit this on the table so it's a little bit easier to maneuver around. So we have the slider all settled down here. We've got it propped up on the feet, and then we also have our little mount here, which is where our camera can go. Or DSLR camera or whatever, mirrorless camera or smartphone. I'm just going to pop that off there. And that is just a pretty much generic top of a tripod, what you would generically get. But very cool in that as well. So this is the one they do. This is the Neewer H-28S, when my camera wants to focus. There we go. And this is pretty generic, so you get obviously horizontal pitch going on there. So obviously you've got that tightened down. Then you also have a 360 ball blob as well, which does go all the way around and also down past 90 degrees, which is also great. So you do get full maneuverability with that as well. As well as on the top where the camera does connect, you also get between 0 and 10 both ways to actually connect this guy up, which is pretty cool. As well as the spirit bubble, which is going to tell you the level of the actual devices sat on here. But then you also have the spirit bubble down here, which is also going to tell you the level of the device itself, which is pretty cool. Now, in the center of here, we do have our mounting point. So this is where our device is going to be mounted. On the center, there is also a bar connected to this middle pendulum. So if I loosen this off, loosen my two side plates off. So if we are watching this here, if I move this middle bar, obviously this one right here, if I move the middle bar, you can see the whole device moves. So if I get that locked in at 20 at both sides, so we're going to focus on the camera down there for a second. So if I get this screwed in here, just so we can tettle on the side here, we do have obviously where the battery goes. We also have our camera shutter, but 3.5mm jack. We get obviously our USB Type-C port as well as the on button. If I turn this on, you can see that the indicators are going to start flickering. It's going to start trying to connect, and then it's going to start moving. So what this is doing is establishing A and B movements. So it's going to go all the way there, and then what it's going to do is slowly start rotating back on itself, just making sure it's calibrated, make sure it knows where it's going, and then it's going to go, and go. What we have here is the remote. Like I said, top left hand side 83% of the actual device, and then top right hand side is the actual remote. We also have our 5V 2A USB Type-C port as well as the shutter port, and then on the bottom we just have our simple on-off switch as well as our battery plugged into the back. Now with this, what we do have, we have live motion, time-lapse, reset point A and B depending on where you want it to start and stop, and then obviously we have a few settings which we can go through to do with delays, language, as well as the initial thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to live movement. We have ramp, we have loop, so if we wanted to continuously go to A and B. We have manual, so we can manually move it ourselves. Start point, obviously whether we want it to start from point A or point B. And then duration, how long we want it to take to get from point A to point B, whether that be 28 seconds or not. So what we are going to do is get this set up here. So we're going to focus on this, and then what I'm going to do is manually move it. As you can see, it is manually moving all on its own, extremely smooth all the way through, and that's going to go to the point until I tell it to stop. Like I tell it to stop. It doesn't just stop though, it slowly gets to a stop. So you know fine well the shot you again is still going to be very smooth, especially when I start it. It starts very slow and then it works its way up just like that. But you'll also notice when it gets to the very end, it doesn't just stop, it does gradually get there. So we're nearly at the end there. It's coming to a halt in about 1, 2, 3. And there we go, it gradually stops. It doesn't just slam into the side, it gradually stops, allowing whatever you are getting a shot of to actually be perfect. Just to get the full effect, what I'm going to do is connect another camera up. We're not going to be recording on this camera, it's just so you can see where the camera sits and how it goes from one point to the other. So what I am going to do is mount this onto the side here. So this is going to be its starting position. So what I am going to do is I'm going to move it back to the center. So I'm just going to go back to the center. So I'm going to get the camera set up in the center, and I'm going to get this all lined up so it's straight. Just like that. And then we're going to move the camera's positioning to 20 degrees one side and 20 degrees on the opposite side. And we are going to watch exactly what I mean by it actually changes directional path. We have a top view so we can actually watch the camera. So I'm going to send it to A and then send it to B now. So if we watch that the camera currently is in the straight position, as it moves you can see the camera itself is starting to angle itself. Just like that. So you're going to picture that I've got something right here in the center. So currently the camera would be pointing at it at this direction. Now as I move the camera all the way back, what it's doing is staying in that projection, but the camera is just slowly moving all of a sudden. So it's very subtle, but it's very smooth. As it gets to the center, it's already straight, and then by the time it starts moving, it's following that objective as well. So you can control this to however you want by the degree. At the moment I've got it set to 20, which is the highest amount you can get it set to. We can change this so we can get it set to 20, and we can manipulate this so I can move this all the way up to 20 as well. So it's a little bit on a sidebar. So as we can see, we've got a curved bar going on here. So if I send this back, we can watch the camera is going and going, and then when it gets roughly to the middle, it's already pointing forward. And then what will happen is it's got the shot, and then what we can do now is actually the camera can pan away and actually pan away like that. As you can see, got the center, now it's panning away just like that, which is really cool. Now we can set this to however we want, whether we want it on, I don't know, 10 degrees on one side, depending on the image we are taking. And then we can get it set to 10 degrees on the other side, so it's not as much of a tilt. But as we can see, it's already there and it's slowly starting to move due center. So that's also something to take in consideration with. You can manipulate this to however you want, depending on the shot you are taking, which is pretty cool. I definitely have to say I do love the concept. So like I said, we do have this little running track here as well. So if it comes to the point where the track does come loose, all you have to do is unscrew this port. This just pops out like that. So obviously now you're not going to be able to do anything with it. The track is loose, the track has come off. What you can do, look underneath. So as we can see, there is 2 loops on either side. What we need to do is just make sure the tracks are facing downwards. Get one locked into that side very nicely. So that'll be the left side. So that one's locked in. Then what you need to do is make sure these are even on both sides. Pull it through, just like that. Make sure it's all nice and loose on one side and then pull it tight. And then all you need to do is the same on the other side. Pull it until it is tight as it can go. Obviously don't over tighten it. And then you are pretty much good to go. The track is now back on, nice and tight. Now I think the one thing I did like about this is that it doesn't have to be sat on a surface. You do have 4 options. Oh, 1 minute, 4, 5, 6, 6 different options, sorry, of mounting points as well. So you have everything from traditional thread size to bigger, and obviously some of your bigger thread sizes that you might have on maybe some more expensive tripods and all that, which is pretty cool. Now on the left hand side we also have some here, so we have 3 different ports there as well. So if you want to attach this to multiple tripods, one on one side and one on the other, just in case you want that extra stability, you also have the 3 ports on this side as well. Now the one thing I did like about the legs, if you are on an uneven surface, the legs do screw all the way out and then you can lock them in position just like that. So you do have an extra, I don't know, I want to say that's about 3 inches or about 2.5, 3 inches extra amount of thread size there. So you don't have to worry about being on an uneven surface. So that's one thing I really did enjoy about this. Now when it does come to the remote, we also have time lapse. So if you want to do an extended recording or video, I don't know, if you want to do a picture of the night sky, all that good stuff, we also have everything here as well. So this can be intervals, so we have 5-second intervals, exposure, frame rate, motion, start point, whether that be A or B, and then we've also got duration. So at the moment that would take 5 minutes and 51 seconds. But of course we can do all different types of things depending on what time lapse you want. And all this means is that the camera is going to move extremely slow and it's only going to move in intervals. So like I said, it did say 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds it will slowly move, slowly move, slowly move until you are done. And that is pretty much everything we need to know about the slider, about the Neewer slider. So as we can see from these videos that I've already currently taken, this is roughly what it looks like from the camera's point of view of what it is taking images. And you can see how pure and how clear the image actually is, how smooth the camera is moving. You know, the tripod, the Neewer mount is allowing it to move very slowly and very smoothly, allowing you to capture every angle and every moment you need without having all that jumpiness and all the juttering. It really is a credit to what it is. So, like I say, with a bit of kit like this, can change your B-rolls, your YouTube channel, your influencers, your photography to the next level. And when I mean that, I mean that. Like, this really is an amazing bit of kit. It relies solely on you controlling it with a controller, and it moves from left to right seamlessly. There's no juttering, there's no shaking, it's perfectly balanced on the tracks, and it just smoothly goes. Like I said, I did show some clips of roughly what it looks like of me recording something within the studio using this, and it looked incredible, it really did. I love the fact you can utilize it for how far you want it to travel from A to B, everywhere down from 28 seconds to 30 minutes. It depends what type of video or what photo you're pretty much going for or what you're actually after. So this really is an incredible bit of kit. So if you do want to go check one out for yourself, check the links in the description. There'll be a link there so you can go get one for yourself and make your YouTube channel, your social medias, videos 10 times better. But as always, if you do get one, you do struggle in any way, shape or form, please do let me know down in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to help. But if the video did help you in any way or shape or form, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day.